The crypto industry is fundamentally broken. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly why it is broken. Now, you might ask, how do I know this? Well, I've been working in the business side of crypto for over 3 years now. I run the best-in-class growth consultancy company, Magnet. We're Forbes Business Council members, and I published a book on crypto growth that became an Amazon bestseller. I have literally been in the inside of this industry, as you could say, my day job for the last few years. So I have a really good insight into how this industry actually works, because a lot of people only see one side of this industry. They only see the side of trading and investing and buying different crypto tokens. They never see the other side, which is the creation of these tokens, where they come from, and the sort of people that are involved in this process. So yeah, I want to move the crypto industry forward. I came in here, like a lot of others, for the technology and trying to grow the next big consumer app that uses Web3 technologies. And there's a reason why that's not happening. And that's what I'm going to dissect in this video. Okay, so I want you to just realize this for a second. A lot of entrepreneurs and individuals, they are driven by one thing, and that is money. And trying to get money in the easiest possible way and form. Not every single person has a huge passion and purpose for the work that they do. They just want to get that end result. So when you have this in mind, one of the ways to get very rich in tech was to build a tech startup, scale the tech startup, and get an exit. In other words, selling the company. This is where the big bucks were made for traditional kind of tech entrepreneurs or people in the tech field, especially throughout the kind of age of the internet that we've had so far. That's where the big money really has been. Yeah, there's been money in selling digital products and things like this, of course, but the big money has always been in having to build this company, this startup, and then selling it for a lot of money. In crypto, it's different. Although we still are in technology and we're the frontier of technology, there's other ways that people make money in this industry. And I'm going to outline that first, because then it's going to make sense why this industry isn't moving forward as quickly as it should be. So one of the biggest ways that people make money in crypto is through tokens, of course. So people can come into this space, they can create tokens, they can make them valuable, and obviously they would have given themselves a lot of tokens in that process. So let's say they create a $50 million token. It might never actually have any use case. It might not have any consumer app or anything useful attached to it, but they've built this thing to be valuable, this token that they've created out of thin air. And if they've given themselves a large percentage of the supply of that token, millions of dollars have been made without having to do a lot. And what you'll see in crypto is there's been many tokens that have launched, that have gone to hundreds of millions of dollars in market cap, making whoever created that project infinitely rich without them actually having to do anything yet. And this is the big problem. In a traditional tech world where you don't have the token, you have to grind and you have to build a startup, which is not an easy task. Probably one of the hardest things to do in the world, to take a random idea and turn it into something very valuable. And it's a long journey. You can't just go and sell your company after a year unless you've done something incredible in such a short period of time. Most of the time, it's a long slog, it's a long grind that could take a decade to complete. And then you get your exit. In crypto, a lot of companies will say they're going to do all of this stuff, they're going to build all of this amazing tech, and it's going to change the world in this way, and they'll sell their token from the start. And that's how they make their money. So the key point to this video, when you ask why the crypto industry is broken, one of the biggest reasons is that there is a misaligned incentive. And what that means is that people are incentivized to launch their project very well and launch this token, make it valuable. And then of course, they're already multi-millionaires. So if they were in this just for the money, they've already achieved their goal. So for them to then be re-inspired, to then take this business from how they've got rich straight out the gate and then turn it into this huge tech startup that's worth loads of money is not very big. Because if you're already sitting on 10, 15, 20 million in the bank, and you now have to grind 5, 6, 7 years, 24/7 grind to try and create that sort of money again when you've already made it and you don't really need it, and your whole incentive of trying to build something and being an entrepreneur is to make money, why are you going to do that? You're not. So the whole time the model in crypto works, where projects come out, they launch their tokens, they make loads of money from it straight away, and then they kind of have already completed whatever their objectives here without even having to start their journey yet. The whole time that is a culture, we're going to really struggle to move this industry forward. Yes, there are exceptions. There are protocols and applications that have been built in crypto by really smart entrepreneurs who have come here to build something and not just make money. But the majority of this space are here to just make money. And the perfect example of this is memecoin summer last year, right? These are tokens that are launching. They have no use case whatsoever. They're not connected to any form of application that solves a problem. They are simply just a token. And the aim of the entrepreneur or the founder in this circumstance is purely just to try and drive value into that token, because they're going to own a lot of that token. And if they make it valuable, they're going to make a fuckload of money. So that's a perfect example. No one was interested in trying to build applications and use cases of the technology in crypto and Web3 to build the future. People just wanted to launch these tokens and get rich. And that's why there were billions of dollars extracted from the crypto market through the memecoin casino last year, because you've got all of these people, thousands and thousands of tokens launched every single day. And the biggest problem here is that this is potential talent that have taken the time to understand crypto, put in the hard hours to build a brand, right? Because even if it's a meme coin, it's still a brand. They've put all of this time in to try and build something, but they're not building something that provides any value for this industry moving forward. They're building something to try and fill their pockets. So that as a point is so important, because it shows that the talented people that are moving into this space, they are choosing to build stuff, or not even build stuff, create things that can essentially make them money. They're not looking to create things that are going to change this industry or inspire the next generation of builders or solve real world problems or anything that is what we should be doing to move this industry forward. It's very important to understand that this misalignment of incentives means that anyone talented that comes into crypto, anyone that is coming in here to try and make something of themselves, very, very quickly they realize how they can essentially get the end game. And that end game doesn't come from, at the moment in crypto, having to build something, real that solves problems. And that in itself is what becomes valuable. They are incentivized to come and create something that they can hype up and create speculation around and fill their own pockets. So yeah, in my opinion, that is the biggest problem that we have in crypto today and why the crypto system is kind of fundamentally broken. Now, as we look forward, where does this change and how does it change? So this is my opinion. A lot of the meme coins that launched and created this casino for people to participate in extracted a lot of liquidity from the market. And if you'll see this year, a lot of the big tokens that have launched that weren't meme coins, they've launched very high at high FTVs that they have to meet because of the insiders that were involved in the tokens before they came to market. And then what's happened is they've just gone like this. They've just gone down. That's it. And the reason for that is because there's not as much liquidity in the market now for people to come in and try and buy these tokens, especially if these tokens haven't actually done anything yet. So the way that we actually value tokens has to fundamentally change, because just because you're a big name, because you've raised tens of millions and you spent it all on marketing, everyone knows who you are, doesn't mean that you've built a product that solves a problem. Doesn't mean that you've built a valuable company behind whatever the token is. Doesn't mean that you've built a use case for that token that you're launching. And that is what I believe is going to be the fundamental shift in crypto in years to come, where we start valuing tokens differently. We no longer value them on speculation or what they might achieve. We start valuing them on what they can actually do right now and what value they can derive. And the easiest way to look at this is when you think about simple economics, supply and demand. Now, there's always going to be supply or selling pressure of people wanting to sell a certain token. And at the moment, for the majority of altcoins, the buying pressure that kind of subdues that selling pressure is literally speculation based. Not many people come to buy tokens because they have to buy that token because they can use it in whatever this consumer app is, for example, that's going to provide them with extra value. That's why a token should realistically be used. So if a project in the future can't bring in buying pressure based on the actual use case of that token and why people actually need to acquire it, other than for speculation purposes and to try and invest and make money, then we'll start to value tokens differently. And when the crypto mindset changes to that, there will be people that won't give a second glance at meme coins or meme coin casino type style games that have been invented in this industry that distract us from what we're actually really trying to do here, because they're going to know that, okay, this is eventually going to die because there actually isn't any buying pressure coming in to fulfill the supply for this token over the long term, because no one actually needs a token. So I think that the way that we value tokens will have to fundamentally change for us to move into this kind of next era of crypto, where we kind of give the liquidity to tokens that actually are useful. And there will always be speculation, of course, but speculation will navigate around tokens that show really strong fundamentals in terms of who can actually generate buying pressure based on the use case of that token. It's not just some magic internet token that people are just trying to trade, speculate, and make money on. They're actually buying it for a real reason. And a lot of that comes down to token utility. And a lot of token utility has to come from how it can be directly implemented into something straight away. And there's buying pressure from day one, not, oh, we're building the next big thing. This is our token. It's going to have all these wonderful use cases. Go and buy it, which is where crypto is at the moment. There will always be different sides to this industry. There'll always be no utility coins that provide other types of value, such as reasons for holding it, such as community. There will always be tokens that need to launch their token to be able to gain some traction, use it as a growth asset, to then be able to go and build whatever it is that they're trying to build. And then there will always be a new genre of token that have to build something, improve that utility for that token, and where that buying pressure is going to come from before they, even launch that token, so that from day one, it's a sustainable token generating value based on what it can actually be used for, not just solely from speculation. There will always be a gap and a space for all of these things. But I do think fundamentally the way that we will value tokens in the future will have to change, so that the people that are bright and are coming into this space and trying to move it forward, they can't just earn tens of millions of dollars from not having to really do a lot. They have to do it, have to actually earn that money by proving the use case of that token. I've just gone on a pretty much a rant, right, on this video. I don't think I've actually told the cameraman to stop pausing it once. I've just spoke at the camera for this long. I even had a script in front of me to talk about different points, but I just wanted it to be more off the cuff, raw, and give you my genuine opinion on why I think crypto is broken right now and how we can have some form of transition into a new crypto age where it's more sustainable. Because if there's always going to be loads of tokens launching that have no use case or future and out building the future of this industry, and we're rewarding all the talented people that are coming in for not having to do anything, then how are we ever actually going to build stuff that changes this industry? It's very unlikely, because eventually liquidity will dry out. And the biggest problem is that if we fail to create these applications that bring new people into the space, because everyone's just focused on trying to not build stuff that's going to bring new users, they just want to try and create tokens that's going to bring liquidity that's already in the market over into their pocket, then eventually that liquidity is going to dry up and crypto will hit a standstill. And when I say crypto generally, I'm not really talking about tokens that have already made it. Obviously, Bitcoin is the king of our industry. Other big tokens as well, big blockchains. I'm not going to name any names in this episode, but you get the gist of it in terms of I'm talking about the other 90% of the market. The tokens outside of, let's say, the top 10. This is one of the reasons why I set up this YouTube channel, to try and give you that kind of inside scoop of what is actually happening in crypto from someone who's working in it every single day and trying to move this industry forward. and then trying to use YouTube as a platform to let everyone else know what's going on the inside of this industry, which I hope I've managed to do today. So yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you want more content about that side of the industry, the truth about crypto, and it's not always a downbeat. Sometimes I'm super bullish on where we're at on the inside, but again, I'm trying to share points that no one else shares on YouTube because they're trying to make you buy tokens. They're on the retail side of crypto. My channel is a bit different. I want to try and educate you on how this industry actually works, how the business side works, because there is still such a huge incentive. If you manage to build your own project and you manage to build that sustainable token and then also a valuable company at the same time, whereas in traditional tech, you might exit for, let's say, $10 million. If you built a sustainable token, a company, and that company as well, you're gonna make double that. So there is still such a huge additional incentive, even if you do things in a more traditional way in crypto and you really try and build value and solve problems, you're still going to have such a much bigger incentive because of the token, which is always going to be there in most protocols in comparison to just building a normal tech company. So there is still such a huge reason and advantage as to why you would build in crypto, even if you have to do it this way, which isn't the get rich quick overnight kind of vibe. I share a lot about knowing how to launch and grow crypto projects because that's what I've done as a day job for the last 3 years. So yeah, drop me a subscribe if you want to hear more. If you've not taken any value from this video, apologies for wasting your time because it has been a bit of a rant. But anyway, whatever camp you sit in, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for tuning in and I'll see you on the next one.